Welcome to the SEE International Podcast. Happy holidays, dear listeners. I hope you are all having a wonderful holiday season so far. First of all, as always, my apologies for getting this out so late. SEE is working on some really interesting, exciting projects, and it's kind of eaten up a lot of my time. I'm also coming to the humbling realization that as much fun as I have interviewing my guests, I'm not so great at the technical end of podcasting. So I'm going to be seeking some volunteer help over the next month or so to see if I can kind of speed up this process a little bit. If anyone listening is good with editing podcasts or sound files, please shoot me an email at steve@seeintl.org. On the topic of those super cool projects that I mentioned, if you haven't seen our brand new short film yet, you should definitely watch it. Stop listening to this podcast right now and watch it. It is super uplifting. Like, if you're having a gloomy holiday season or have a complicated relationship with the holidays in general, this is your antidote. It's entitled A Dream of Sight, and it's about a family we met on a sight-restoring program to Peru in September. You can find it on our YouTube channel, which is SEEINTL, or click the link on our website at SEEINTL.org. Now on to today's episode. I interviewed Dr. Dan Alter, winner of the SEE 2017 Humanitarian of the Year Award. Dr. Alter is a pretty remarkable doctor, even by SEE's already high standards. Over the past 2 years, he has gone to Haiti to perform sight-restoring surgeries a whopping 12 times. Think about that for a second. That's 6 trips per year to one of the poorest countries in the world, treating a population that has been just absolutely decimated by multiple earthquakes and hurricanes over the past decade. We talk about what motivates him to keep going back and volunteering his skills in Haiti, as well as SEE's future and how the organization can grow to help more people than ever before over the coming years. Anyway, without further ado, here is my interview with Dr. Dan Alter. I hope you enjoy it, and happy holidays from SEE International to all of you. Now, what did you think about Haiti the first time you went there, anyway?
I had some experience in seeing impoverished areas just from having traveled to Kenya when I think I was probably 25 years old at the time, and then again to Tanzania. But that was more for vacation, safari type things. But you're still exposed to it, as well as other travel through Costa Rica and things like that. But nobody can prepare you for what you'll see in Haiti when you first arrive. It really can take the level of poverty is just incomparable.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, I believe, if my memory serves.
And I think it's not even by a little bit, it's by a lot.
Oh, that is terrible. That is really, really terrible.
So depending on what statistics you read, the per capita income is somewhere between $1,000 and maybe at the highest $2,000 per person per year.
Oh, my goodness.
So, we're talking about Mexico might be, I don't know what Mexico's at now, maybe 12,000. So you think of Mexico or some of these other areas being poor, and this is at 1/10 of the level of Mexico. It's really just almost incomprehensible, especially with it being so close to the United States.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's and what's remarkable about it too is it's that impoverishment is not a new thing. It's not something that just came up with the earthquake in 2010 or any of these hurricanes. It's been a century, and then it's been 2 centuries really of poverty.
Right.
Yeah, that's really terrible. Well, so how did the Haitian people receive you then? Were they happy to see you, or were they?
Yeah. So sure. Yeah. So we came in and we just show up in the office, and basically, I think we just all went right to work. So Dr. Taverne is like a workaholic, beyond anyone I've ever met. I'll get emails from him that he's writing at 2 or 3 in the morning. I'm thinking, Reginald, don't you ever sleep? and then he's up, at 6 in the morning. He's in the office at 8 and stays there literally till like 10 o'clock, probably, or 8 to 10 every night. He just is absolutely in love with his work.
Well, that's dedication. I mean, it sounds like he has a real sense of responsibility to his community, his neighbors, his community, his country. That's really wonderful. What about you now, though? I mean, it sounds like it wasn't an easy first trip. What about it? Do you think kept you coming back?
Um, yeah, those. People ask me that kind of thing a lot. It's really hard to put it down on to say it's one thing that motivates me. I think it's a constellation of many different factors.
Right.
It's for one thing, it's really exciting to see the doctors we're teaching there progress, and actually now Reginald can pretty much do most vitrectomies on his own. He still needs help with the real complex ones, but so do I. And the other doctor, which we're training now in Cap Haiti, has made some good headway too, and is starting to make progress. So part of it's just I love teaching. Part of it's I love helping people. It's a challenge. There's just so many. It's just rewarding in so many different ways. It's just hard to express exactly.
Yeah.
Why I like going there so much.
Well, I mean, it sounds like the fact that Haiti is such a poor, politically unstable country where the standard of living is as low as it is. I mean, it really sounds like a place where there's plenty of opportunity for you to change people's lives, make their lives a lot better than they otherwise would be.
Well, exactly. That's part of it too. Part of it is, some of it's a religious calling, just feeling like I'm giving back or doing that kind of work. But it's not all that either. Some of it's just the challenge of it to try to do something that's so hard to do there.
Yeah. It sounds like it's fun. It sounds like it's fun.
Part of it is, and then part of it is actually the cases are so difficult there that it's also good for my own professional development to go there and work on these really challenging cases that you generally don't see so much in the suburbs of Chicago or most of these metropolitan areas in the United States.
I see. Do you have any examples?
Oh, well, when we do surgery there, the average case might be equal to the hardest case that we do in the United States in a given year. So any given case on any given day there is probably as hard as any case we do in the United States because the disease is just so advanced. It's mostly chronic retinal detachments due to diabetes.
Oh my goodness!
Diabetic retinal detachments, or just regular retinal detachments that have gone for so long that there's a lot of scar tissue. So they're very challenging. I think that's part of it right there.
That sounds like a real challenge. My goodness, I would imagine your success rate is still pretty good, but I imagine this.
I wish it was better.
Yeah,
I wish it was better.
I'm sure, but it sounds like there's only so much you can do.
Part of the challenge. Yeah, you do the best you can do, and then you have to weigh. There's different things that you're weighing on one hand, trying to help as many people as you can while you're there, but you're also trying to train the doctor to progress as fast as he can. Ultimately, the goal is to try to train Dr. Taverne, Dr. Dupree, and whoever comes after him to do these without us there. So if you're choosing too difficult of cases, you might have an extremely high failure rate. Yet they're going to learn so much just doing that case. So it's a constant dance of trying to figure out what the how hard of cases do you want to do. And then some of the cases you just flat out have to do yourself. It might be someone who's bilaterally blind, and one eye you judge just flat out isn't fixable, and the one has a small chance to be fixed, and you feel like, hey, we should just try our best to get some kind of vision, because certainly no place is good to be blind, but Haiti is a terrible place to be blind.
Sure. And I'm not surprised to hear that at all. It's a lot of, I don't know what the percentage is, but if memory serves, like most of the population does subsistence farming just to survive, and you can't really survive doing that if you can't see.
That's right.
Yeah, it's terrible. Well, so walk us through exactly how these expeditions usually go for you. So you land at Toussaint Louverture Airport, I think, is the main airport.
Yeah. Once you land there, that's towards the end of the trip. The trip starts when you start planning.
Right.
At least for this kind of thing, to get started on doing retina surgery in a place like this, it's really, a lot of it's all about the planning. You have to bring everything, and you can't forget anything that's critical. And to have it's just a level harder than doing small incision cataract surgery, where they can show up and have, as long as they have a microscope and the basic things, they can pretty much do a good job. You really have to have all these things lined up, and everything has to be working right. You need compressed air there, which is almost impossible to find there. We even went so far as to have setups to be able to have our air tanks filled by a scuba shop, that one of the only scuba shops in Haiti. And so even getting compressed air there is very difficult. The gases that we put in the eye can't be shipped. It can't be brought on the airplane because they're compressed gas. So you have to figure out a way to get that. So really the hardest part is just getting it all set up and ready to go, to get all the equipment down there you need. And then when you arrive there, it's basically a pretty hectic airport, as you can imagine. Reginald usually has a guy who meets me, and this is in Port-au-Prince now, who meets me there. Now I know him. He knows how to find me. And we get our suitcases. Now we hope to get through customs okay, which is, sometimes you get through okay, sometimes you don't. But
it depends on. It depends. I'm sure it depends a little bit on whether or not you have to grease the gentleman or lady on the other end of the kiosk.
Yeah, exactly. So in Port-au-Prince, I think Reginald just knows the people, and they kind of just let us through. I don't know if he's doing anything on the side. I'm sure maybe he is. I don't know. But Camp Haitian's been a little more difficult, where they've been trying to extract a little money right there. But usually we just kind of play dumb and let them argue with our hosts. And then we usually end up just kind of leaving, and then they extract some money from the host later somehow.
Something like that.
Yeah.
Well,
no, you see them, they're opening your suitcase, and the stuff's already crammed in there like you wouldn't believe, right?
Yeah.
It's like packing as much stuff in a suitcase as you possibly can. They open the suitcase, and the stuff's falling out, and they have no regard for it. It's really a little crazy.
Yeah, whatever makes it easier.
Then after we leave the airport, so you walk out, and there's just a ton of people, because everybody's trying to, get you to take a ride with it, just like it might be in Mexico and all these other places. And then you go to this little parking lot, and it's like a little, they call it a VIP parking lot, which if you saw that, you'd probably laugh that they call it the VIP parking lot. But and then you hop in the cars, and off you go towards his office. And that's about a 15 or 20-minute ride to Reginald's, Dr. Tavern's office. He's right down near the presidential palace. And so you have the presidential palace, which pretty much shook to the ground in the earthquake. And then the State University Hospital is real close to there. So, and then a couple other eye clinics are really close to there.
Is that near where the Champ de Mars is?
Yes, exactly. In fact, that is the name of Reginald's medical center, Champ de Mars Medical Center.
I see. Yeah, no, I've never been to Haiti before, but I know that because I know there's been some major protests there over the last couple of weeks, actually.
Yeah, so I've actually been there. Let's see, probably my second trip. I actually have some pretty interesting video of this where it's the last day we're at Reginald's. So this probably would have been my second trip. So this would have been 15. And So we're doing the surgery on the last day, like Friday morning, or yeah, it must have been a Friday or a Saturday morning, it must have been. And then we did another case, I think, and then around 12 or 1, he's like, okay, you guys got to go. We're like, what's the big rush? So they kind of keep track when they have these protests. They're called manifestation.
Interesting.
And at the time they were trying to have presidential elections, and they were having a lot of trouble. There was you thought we had a lot of candidates in our election. They had 40 or 50. And so there's all these different protests, and usually it's just people marching on the street, and they're waving, flags, or maybe palm trees, and maybe burning a tire or two, but still, you never know there.
Right.
So he throws us in the car, we start driving, and it starts getting really hectic. Motorcycles are turning around and stopping and turning around, and next thing we know, we kind of run literally right into this big parade of demonstrators. We were on a road that kind of T-boned, and these people took a left in front of us. About 1,000 people walked by, and our driver just turned around. We left. It was no problem, but it was a little scary.
Yeah, well, it sounds like it, but it also sounds like you were in good hands, though, too. Which is,
it's just you're just not at home.
No.
And if there's a little protest around here in Chicago or something, everyone would be like, whatever. But it was just a little scary. But pretty much most of the protests there really aren't violent, but they're except for some burning of tires and stuff. But it's still you're out of your element. You're not your home. You're not. It can be a little disconcerting.
And there's a lot of raw sentiment against the United States there as well. A lot of unhappiness at really 200 years worth of us interfering in their elections. So I can imagine it's probably not a good place to be American at those times.
Yeah, yes and no. It's in some ways they all think they're Americans.
Yeah.
It's kind of like so many of them have come to the United States or know a cousin that did or somebody that did, and they even joke about that some of them actually joke that they're American.
I see.
So I don't think they're really not anti-American per se. The politics there are very interesting when you talk to them because they're very nuanced in their perceptions of things. For instance, some of them love the Clintons and some of them hate the Clintons. The Clinton Foundation, because some of them think that every dollar that's ever gone there has disappeared into some
black hole. Yeah.
So, but for the most part, I think that they're very friendly towards Americans.
Sure.
I think most of them realize there's this whole colonial rule that goes back. Remember, people don't really understand the history of Haiti. Is they revolted in 1802 or 1803 or something like that. Napoleon sent his brother-in-law or something and tried to squash the rebellion, and then they ditched him, and then so it was the first independent black republic in the world. And then what happened is the rest of the colonial world blockaded them to prevent the spread of slave revolts. And in doing so, this is 1804. Remember, our Civil War wasn't until another 60-some years later.
Yes.
And so they were trying to prevent the spread of this slave result. So it's actually really interesting. Once I started going there, I got very involved in the history.
Yeah, it's
reading
fascinating.
about the history and the culture, and learning some basic Creole and things like that. It's really fascinating. You just really have to. I think you have to read about it a little bit and before you go. And I've kind of learned on my own as I've gone, and I've tried to read more and become. I'm sure I've made tons of mistakes too, but at least I'm trying to understand the situation better.
Have you ever you have 2 kids, I think?
I have 3 kids.
3 kids. Okay, great.
They're actually, all 3 are in medical school.
Oh, cool.
And they've all 3 been down to Haiti with me. Dave came on my first trip. And then Tom came on my second trip. Tom's been there 4 times.
Wow.
And Jenny's been there 2 have, because you really need someone to help you keep notes and keep organized and keep track of the patients, because they don't keep track of the patients quite the same as we, we're pretty compulsive in the United States about all the paperwork and everything.
Were you,
So you'll walk into one room, see a patient, and then you come back to the other room, then you go back in that room, you're like, oh, what? You're scratching your head, you're like, what was that? You're trying to remember who had what. So it's really hard to keep track of everything that's going on there.
Sure. Were you, was it on your expedition that Jay Farbman came and took some photos?
Yeah.
He took some photos. I mean, one of the photos that really stuck with me was it was like one of the offices with all of the records in it. It looked like a library of just these packed together old paper files. Some strung together with bits of string, some of them in folders or whatever. But it's, I can only imagine how many hands need to be working just to keep those files straight, to keep the patient records straight or whatever.
Oh, yeah. Rachel, that must have been Dr. Taverne's office. And he even has a story. I forgot exactly how it goes, but at some point he decided to give each patient their own number. So instead of doing things alphabetically, they would have a number. And then I forgot how the whole story went, but something like, and then he had them in a warehouse across the street, and then the computer that had the numbers that would convert to the names lost the hard drive.
Oh no! Oh,
yeah.
That's a lot of work down the drain.
He had to so he said he's like, Dan, it became impossible to find my charts anymore.
Oh no! Well, it sounds like he works long, hard hours, and he probably recouped it in no time. Hopefully, anyway. Well, that's really terrific. So it looks like we're running short on time here, but I just wanted to ask you, I mean, what would you say to other doctors who may be listening to this and considering going on a sea expedition?
Well, just get involved. Here's the one thing that people don't realize. It's fun. It's a blast. It's and there's nothing wrong with having fun if you love what you do and you can go down and do it down there, you'll absolutely love it. I don't know anyone who's ever come back and said they didn't have a blast. It's not to say it won't be challenging, but it's rewarding. You can help a lot of people, and you'll just flat out have fun. Bring a family member, bring one of your employees, or just if anyone's ever thought of it, you just have to sign up and go do it.
Wonderful. I'm so glad to hear that. I got to go on my first expedition just about a month ago to Peru, actually. Had a wonderful time. And I mean, you're not kidding. It's a really fun experience, actually.
Yeah.
I mean, ours was... Go ahead.
I would love to go to some of these other sites like Peru. I saw you guys are retweeting for Peru, and there's all these other sites. And I would love to do that, just to be able to travel and see some other places. But I just really feel like I started something in Haiti with the training of these guys that I just need to, I want to see them. I want to see that through until they're done with that, and then maybe I can try some of these other places.
I think you just perfectly explained perfectly answered that first question that I had, which is why you keep going back. I mean, that makes a lot of sense to me.
Well, maybe that is it. It's just job's not done yet.
Yeah, well, job's not done yet, but also I'm sure it's really encouraging and heartwarming and motivating to see them grow, to see their skill sets develop, and see it make some real progress for the people there in Port-au-Prince.
Yeah, if we're Jay or Steve, if we're running out of time, I just want to say thank you to just so many people who've been involved. I can't even begin to express how many different people have been involved. There's a Dr. Matt Thompson now from Green Bay. He's going 4 times a year. He's now teaching the residents. I was almost embarrassed when they called and said that they named me, because Matt's done so much. I instantly started thinking of all these other people who've done so much, like Matt Thompson, Dr. Olivier, Anju Chandra, the optometrist, who's running there's an American optometrist who's there in Haiti almost full time now in Fondablanc, in the middle of nowhere, in a very remote area, who started her own clinic from nothing.
That's in the southeast, right?
Yeah. And then there's all the companies that have helped. Pretty much every company, people talk about corporate greed, but there's so many companies, Alcon, Bausalam, Synergetics, Iridex, it just goes on and on.
We couldn't do any of our expeditions without them. They've been absolutely just godsends, all of them. Anyway, thank you once again, Dr. Alter, and congratulations.
Thank you very much. All right, look forward to meeting you. Maybe we'll see you at the Academy or something if you're there.
Thank you for listening to the SEE International podcast. For more information, email us at info@seeintl.org or visit our website at seeintl.org.